If you're a coach or consultant active on LinkedIn, then you've probably experienced this. You're posting content, getting some engagement, maybe even a few connection requests. But when it comes to actual sales conversations, prospects are either just price shopping or they're comparing you to 3 other people. And the moment that you're being compared, you've already really lost. So here's the problem. Most coaches and consultants on LinkedIn are positioned exactly the same. Same generic headlines, same vague about sections, and same surface level content. Whereas when you look at everyone else, you then get treated like everyone else as a commodity. So that means prospects end up making decisions based on price and not actual perceived value. So in this video, what I'm going to do is break down how to position yourself on LinkedIn so that you're not competing at all. I'm going to break down 3 tactical positioning shifts that you can implement so that you become the obvious choice for your ideal clients and the only person that they want to work with. And it's the exact same positioning strategy that's helped me to build a LinkedIn presence with over 55,000 followers, and at the same time put me in a situation where we've been able to drive millions and millions of page views for many of our clients as well. As you can see here, 72 million impressions just on one particular page and profile. So we're going to walk through how all of the tactics and strategies here can elicit those types of outcomes. So let's start with the core problem. Right now, if I go to your LinkedIn profile, there's a good chance that your headline says something like, I'm a business coach, or I'm a marketing consultant, or I'm CEO at ABC company. And your about section probably talks about your credentials, your experience, and your mission. And your content is likely a mix of motivational posts, industry observations, and occasional offers, if any of that at all. So here's the issue. That's what everyone else is doing, right? And when you position yourself like everyone else, you just blend in and you become invisible to your ideal client because there's nothing about you that's making you stand out. So the second part of this problem is that most people on LinkedIn position themselves around what they do, not who they serve or the outcome that they actually deliver. So they say, I help businesses grow, or I provide coaching services, but your ideal client doesn't care about generic growth or generic coaching. They care about a specific problem and whether you can actually solve it. So when your LinkedIn positioning is generic, you end up in the comparison game. Prospects put you in a mental bucket with all of your competitors, and then they make their decision based on price, availability, or whoever they just happen to talk to last, because you're not winning because you're the best. You're just kind of winning by chance. So here's the real truth about all of this. LinkedIn positioning isn't about being better than your competitors. It's about being different as well as being better. It's about using your profile and your content and your engagement to carve out a unique space where you become the only option. And when you do that, price objections disappear because there's no one else to compare you to. So how do you create that type of positioning on LinkedIn? We're going to go on to cover that. But before I do that, I just want you to be able to see here, this is the types of things that we're talking about, right? You want to avoid generic and focus on being specific. You want to get to a position where you can then start to take these types of steps that we're going to walk through now. So the first step is to position your LinkedIn profile for a specific niche. And I'm not just talking about your headline, I'm talking about your entire profile. So that means your headline, your about section, your featured section, even your banner image. Every element should communicate who you serve and what problem you solve and what outcome you also deliver. So let's start with your headline, because this is one of the most visible pieces of real estate on LinkedIn. It shows up in your search results, in connection requests, and in comments, and yet most people waste it with generic titles. So here's the shift that I need you to make. Instead of saying who you are, say who you help and the result that you deliver. So you can use this formula, for example, I help specific niche achieve specific outcome on LinkedIn. Now, let me give you a before and after example. So a before might be business coach at CEO XYZ coaching. After, it would be I help B2B consultants add 50K per month in revenue from LinkedIn without paid ads. You see the difference there? The first one's a title, whereas the second one is a niche specific value proposition. So if you're a B2B consultant looking to generate revenue from LinkedIn, the second headline immediately resonates. Now let's talk about your about section. So this is where you double down on your niche positioning. Use the problem solution proof framework, but make it niche specific. So open with their problem. If you're a financial advisor tired of cold calling and want to attract high net worth clients on LinkedIn, you're not alone, right? That's the start. Then present the solution. The solution isn't more outreach, it's positioning yourself as the go-to expert for your ideal client on LinkedIn, and then provide proof. Over the last year, I've helped financial advisors generate over 72 million impressions on LinkedIn and attract high quality inbound leads without spending $1 on ads. Now, notice how specific this is. It's not for just business owners, it's for financial advisors. It's not about growing your business, it's about attracting high net worth clients on LinkedIn. The level of specificity is what makes your positioning magnetic to the right people. So here's the tactical exercise. I want you to rewrite your entire LinkedIn headline and the first paragraph of your about section using this niche specific framework. And if you want feedback, drop it in the comments of this video and I will personally review it and give you some feedback on it. So just to bring this to life a little bit more, as you can see on the screen, start with the I help specific niche achieve specific outcome on LinkedIn. Then you can see the before and after example here. So from the business coach to actually how you help and the value that you drive. Open with the problem, present the solution, and provide proof. Now, the second step that I want to move on to here is to position your content around a unique point of view. This is where most people on LinkedIn end up playing it safe. They post generic advice, motivational quotes, and surface level tips. But here's the problem with all of that. When your content sounds like everyone else's, you're going to blend in. And when you blend in, you quickly become forgettable. Premium clients don't follow people who blend in. They follow people who have a clear, differentiated perspective on how to actually solve their problem. They want someone who challenges conventional thinking, who's got a methodology that's actually a bit different to the status quo. So the question becomes, well, how do you position your content around a unique point of view? You really need to take a stand on something, right? So you need to identify a common belief in your industry and then challenge it directly in your LinkedIn posts. So let me give you a couple of examples of how this could show up in content. A common belief might be that you need to post on LinkedIn every day to build authority. Whereas a unique point of view might be, everyone says that you need to post on LinkedIn every day. And that's terrible advice because I built 55,000 followers and generated 10 million impressions by posting at the beginning 3 times per week. And here's why quality beats quantity every time. That would be going against a quote unquote common belief. Or another common belief might be you need a big network to generate leads on LinkedIn. Whereas a unique point of view might be most people think you need 10,000 connections to generate leads on LinkedIn, and that's completely wrong. I've seen clients with 500 connections generate more inbound leads than people with 5,000. Here's what actually matters. Now, another example could be that LinkedIn, a common belief could be that LinkedIn is for B2B only. Now, the unique perspective on that might be that if you think LinkedIn is just for B2B, then you're leaving money on the table, because I've helped B2C coaches generate 6 figures from LinkedIn by positioning themselves correctly. And here's the strategy. So notice how each of these challenges a widely accepted belief, and then it positions you as someone who can see the game completely differently. And this is how you end up standing out on LinkedIn, because you're not just sharing tips, you're leading with a perspective that differentiates you from everyone else. Now, here's the tactical exercise I need you to go about doing now. Identify one common belief in your industry that you actually disagree with. Then write a LinkedIn post that challenges that belief and explains your alternative approach. This is how you can start to carve out a unique position on the platform. And when your content consistently reflects a unique point of view, you're no longer competing, you end up leading. And that's actually what attracts high profile clients. Now, the third step I want you to do is to position your engagement strategically, because most people on LinkedIn engage completely randomly, right? They just scroll through their feed, they like a few posts, leave a few generic comments like great post or thanks for sharing. But that kind of engagement doesn't build actual positioning. It really just creates noise, to be honest with you. So strategic engagement is about positioning yourself in front of your ideal clients and other authorities in a way that demonstrates your expertise. So here's how to go about actually doing this. First of all, engage on posts with your ideal clients. Go to the profiles of people who fit your target niche and then engage with their content, but don't just like their posts. Actually leave thoughtful, value-adding comments that showcase your expertise. So for example, if you help financial advisors and you see a financial advisor post about struggling to generate leads, don't just say, I can help with that. Instead, leave a comment like, this is a common challenge. One tactic that works well is repositioning your LinkedIn headline to speak directly to your ideal client's pain point. And I've seen advisors go from 0 inbound leads to multiple qualified conversations per week by making that one shift. So can you see the difference there? You're not just selling, you're actually adding value, but you're also positioning yourself as someone who has expertise in solving their exact problem. So when they see that comment, they'll likely check out your profile. And if your profile is positioned correctly, they'll reach out. Now, the second thing that I want you to do is to engage on posts from other authorities in your space. So find 3 to 5 recognized experts in your niche and engage with their content regularly. But again, don't just leave generic comments, actually add insight and share a related experience, or you could ask a smart question that positions you as a peer and not just as a follower. So for example, you could say that aligns with what I've seen working with clients. The one thing I'd add is that this strategy works even better when combined with a niche specific headline. We've helped clients increase their profile views by 300% just by making that adjustment. So this does two things. First, it gets you in front of their audience. And secondly, it positions you as someone who operates at their level as an authority and not just as a fan. Now, the third thing you can do is use your comments to reinforce your positioning. So every comment you leave on LinkedIn is an opportunity to reinforce who you actually serve and what you actually do. So don't waste it with generic responses. Make sure that your comments actually reflect your niche and your unique point of view. So the tactical shift for you to spend 15 minutes a day leaving 5 strategic comments, 2 on posts from your ideal clients, 2 on posts from authorities, and 1 post responding to comments on your own content. And this is how you can use engagement to actually build positioning and not just visibility, right? So let's try and put all of this together, right? You've now got to a point where you've repositioned your LinkedIn profile to speak directly to a specific niche with a clear outcome. You've also positioned your content around a unique point of view that differentiates you from everyone else. And you've positioned your engagement to strategically attract premium clients and to build authority. So here's what your LinkedIn positioning looks like when you combine these 3 elements. Your profile headline will be along the lines of, I help B2B SaaS founders scale to $10 million annual recurring revenue on LinkedIn without burning out their teams. Your content will be posts that challenge common beliefs in the SaaS space and share your unique methodology for scaling through LinkedIn authority. And then your engagement would be strategic comments and posts from SaaS founders and other SaaS experts that demonstrate your expertise and reinforce your positioning. So when someone in your target niche encounters you on LinkedIn, whether they see your profile, read your content, or notice your comments, they immediately understand who you are, who you serve, and why you're different. So now you're not just another business coach or marketing consultant, you're actually the person who helps B2B SaaS founders to scale to $10 million in annual recurring revenue on LinkedIn. That's specific, it's differentiated, and that's real positioning. And here's what happens when you do that, right? Prospects in your niche see this level of clarity and specificity, and they don't compare you to other options. They think to themselves, this person actually gets my world. This is the person who I need to work with, and you then become the obvious choice. And that's the power of strategic LinkedIn positioning. You're not just trying to appeal to everyone, you're trying to be irresistible to the right people. And when you do that, price objections disappear because there's no one else who's positioned quite like you. So what happens when you actually implement this type of positioning framework? I'll walk you through the actual transformation. First, you stop competing like I was just talking about because your LinkedIn position is so sharp and specific and differentiated, you're not in that comparison game anymore. So prospects aren't asking, how much do you charge when compared to this person? They're actually asking, how do I work with you? Because you position yourself as the only person that actually solves their specific problem in the way that you solve it on LinkedIn. Secondly, you attract more premium clients. Because when your profile content and engagement all reinforce a niche specific approach, you naturally filter out price shoppers. The people who reach out, they're actually serious, they're qualified, and they're ready to invest. They're not just looking for the cheapest option, they're looking for an expert, and your LinkedIn positioning makes it clear that you are the expert. Thirdly, your inbound lead flow becomes consistent. Because when your positioning is dialed in, LinkedIn starts working for you. You don't actually have to chase leads or do cold outreach. High quality prospects start to find you, they engage with your content, and they reach out. And because they're pre-sold on your positioning, the sales conversation becomes a far easier conversation and not a conversation where you're fighting to convince them. And this is the exact positioning approach that I personally use to build a LinkedIn presence with over 55,000 followers and to generate more than 10 million impressions in the last year. And it's the same framework that we've used to help clients to attract high quality inbound leads and to build authority in their niche, generating over 100 million total impressions and helping one of our clients gain over 4,000 new followers in just 30 days. So this framework does work, but you have to be willing to niche down, to take a stand, and to position every element of your LinkedIn presence around that clarity. And when you do, everything completely changes. So with all of that said, here is the reality. This LinkedIn positioning framework will certainly differentiate you on the platform, but positioning is only one part of the equation, because once you've nailed that positioning, you need a system to actually amplify it, a content engine that continuously communicates that unique point of view, demonstrates your expertise, and attracts high quality inbound leads on LinkedIn. So that's the approach that I use for my own personal LinkedIn profile, and it's the same system that we implement for our clients as well, without them having to spend hours and hours each week on that content creation. It's the same approach used for the types of clients that I was just talking about a moment ago. So if you do want a breakdown of how to build a full LinkedIn authority engine around your positioning, drop a comment below with the word position and I'll send you the details. But even if you just implement these 3 positioning shifts on your own, you're going to see a dramatic change in the quality of your inbound leads on LinkedIn. So look, I really appreciate you watching the video. Again, drop the word position in the comment section below, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video.